Welcome back to the Purchase podcast. This is episode 3, Inspirations and Interests. It's your host, V and Brandon. And we're going to dive in head on today. Hey, my cat is on my lap and attacking my headphones, so don't mind that. But yeah, I guess with that, my cat is one form of inspiration. He gets me out of bed every day. I give him nice food and water every morning and take care of his litter and stuff. And, it gives me a sense of purpose. And, he's always...
Gives you a sense of purpose.
Yeah. Sense of purchase. And he's always so loving, and when the whole world may seem against you at a moment or so, or if you're just not feeling so good, inspiration is something that touches you no matter where you're at. And I think that the cat does that, man. Yeah, V, is there anything that touches you when all else is just like almost meaningless? Or
I really like learning more about how vibration works, because of music and how it is and how it all is a vibration. And I just love that. Just that thought in my head just gets me going about starting the day and like making music, because I'm just like, I want to know more about what that vibration stuff is, because it's pretty infinite, and it's just so intriguing to me how just a simple vibration can make so much in the world.
Well, yeah, we see all the time, especially now with the internet, how like a 10-second audio clip will go viral. Like,
yeah, just that, for example. Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of thing that is inspiring. It's like, well, it's not necessarily, it's what it is. It's for how it is. And people purely appreciate it based off of nothing else. That it's just there, and that's how it is, and it reaches somewhere deep inside them. And I don't know.
Yeah, that's where we want to go.
Yeah.
Because surface level doesn't really do much.
No. And I guess some things that have really touched me over my life and the course of my artistic career is like, well, one animation of any sorts has been one of my most favorite forms of media since I was a child, and all the wacky and zany worlds that these characters inhabit or adventure in and explore always intrigue me, because it's not like too far off from where we are. Earth can be pretty cool, but I'm talking like things that are just, a myth, or of somewhere else, and it like
more like science fiction.
Yeah, science fiction, fantasy. I'm trying to look up for other words, but
Well, yeah, we get the gist of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that kind of these fantasies that kind of keep us afloat for some time, because that's just like part of the evolution. We need to have some fantasies, and we have to look outside for these fantasies until we find something inside. This is depicted in quite some shows. For example, the Big Less show, the Australian show, or the Avatar, which is I really like this one because it's really represented in such a beautiful way, and just because of the fact that it's like childish, it doesn't require a lot of brain processing power to actually process this. So you don't need a lot of CPU like me. I don't have much CPU. I don't have any GPU, by the way. Like I have Fantasia, so I don't see anything in my mind when I close my eyes. And yeah, I think it's really cool compared to like movies, which are cool, but yeah, I prefer just when it's drawn and all because you can feel the spirit of the person that's drawn it instead of a movie where they just record it and it's just like how we used to.
Well, all those things employ art in so many different ways. And I mean,
For sure, but yeah, I agree with the animations are more. I see much more of a soul in it compared to movies.
well, I agree, and the characters are just so alive, and the worlds and the art just brings everything. Like it's created purely out of soul, and it just it reaches into that place deep inside me because I'm a very imaginative person. I like to create weird things, and these weird things are the closest thing that speaks to what's in or like seen outside that can be in my head. And these characters go through so many real world things, like and I mean, Adventure Time being like my Bible. I mean, as that show's grown, I've like became an adult, and I mean, it's still around today, and it's just gotten tenfold crazier and even more multi-dimensional. And just
Yeah, that's something I want to touch upon is that the funny thing, like, I mean, in life, a lot of things are paradoxical and backwards, but this is such a good example that, like, childish shows are like just so much. I mean, a lot of them can be really insightful and deep compared to movies. Like, I, I just personally feel, and because well, everyone is a child on some level or another, depending on if they can accept it or recognize it, admit it, and acknowledge it. But just because these shows, the anime and all the animations, because they're of child, then I personally can relate to them much more, and I feel like there's much more depth to them, even though it looks like it's something for children. But yeah, children have. I mean, if you really think about it, children just like they're pure. So it's really what is truth and like deep before they get adults. So yeah, that's the paradox I wanted to touch upon.
yeah, no, we've talked about this before, but it's really great that you bring that up, because yeah, that is the paradox of it, is that these are things that sometimes are aimed towards children. I mean, there's adult animation, and some of them are more geared towards like grotesque comedy. But even those shows have some really great show or like episodes even. But yeah, the thing is that it's these shows are teaching children things, and if they actually integrate them into their lives,
That adults forget. That's the joke, though.
yeah. But the adults, there are some adults that remember because obviously they made it.
Yeah.
Even
The ones that made it, okay, yeah, but the rest, it's kind of it's paradoxically sad that they forget because it's deep. It's one of the first experiences you've had in the incarnation you're actually having, so that's why.
yeah, no, that's true. I mean, like one of my first memories is like literally seeing Darth Vader on this TV when I was like 4 years old, maybe 3 or something like that. And I just remember being like, whoa, that guy, he's fucking cool. Like, to the greatest depth that a 4-year-old could feel that, I did. And I mean, I got Darth Vader everywhere to this day. And I mean, it's just like how it is. I mean, like, some things just stick with you. And even if, like, okay, you can say that Star Wars may not be the greatest story of all time. You can say it's even bad. Definitely the new ones are. But I mean, it's been with me my whole life. I mean, at this point, I just kind of watch it here and there, and I appreciate it. But I'm not like I was a big dork about it when I was a kid, but now it's just like whatever. But I still love it. You know, that's what it is. It's that love that just like carries through, even if you're not like still interested in something or still as passionate about something, but something that always inspired you or brought about passion in your life will always speak to you in some degree.
Well, because of the first impressions we said, right? Especially that. Of how you perceived it for the first time.
Well,
but
you can never perceive anything like you did the first time.
Yeah, that's true. It's always different.
It's always a little different, and it's never the same. And that's the thing, is like, you can't be bound by first impressions. And I think that's another thing that really stuns art sometimes. Like,
What do you mean?
like, okay, someone sees like art or like TV or something that comes out, and then they have these expectations for the second movie, for instance, or yeah, and the second movie is pretty awful, and then they're like, whatever, and then people lose those expectations, and then a third one comes out, and they're like, oh wow, that one was actually alright, you know.
Yeah, that's okay. We want to talk about ego again.
Well, yeah.
Of the expectations and all. And yeah, one thought that I had in mind was that, like, why is it, even though I already know, but I'm asking, why is it, like, the first time we feel like it was better before, for the first time, and then we get all these expectations? Did you know why it feels like this?
Yeah, it feels like we're building up to something, but we don't even know what it is, right? I mean, how do you, you're, okay, sorry. I guess my brain wasn't tuned to my mouth. Okay. My question for you, V, was, when you're creating music, how do you combat those expectations?
Well, some expectations just come up, and I just observe them as just thoughts or energy. The thing is, the key is in not being identified with them. Just like, sometimes we can't help it, and it's okay. But as long as I, or you, whatever, do not get identified with it, and just not being pulled by them, and just look at them for what they are, you know. You don't have to like go on with them. And what I do is I kind of put them on the side, and I just get in the moment. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm a bit disappointed by this and all this, but this also can become some kind of a fire to be like, oh, maybe I might work more on this, or like pay more attention to certain details because of this. But I don't use it in a bad way, even though sometimes I can't help it. But sometimes, I'm like, maybe it's not that great. It also means I need a break. So yeah, it all has like a message, a hidden message to it, these expectations. And yeah, because of the lack of identification to my best ability, um, then I don't suffer from it. Like this is really key to understand that. If you identified with something, then you kind of forget you're it, and that relates back to like the shows for kids. Is that adults just become identified with the body so much that they just forget about the childish and playful like essence of reality.
Well, I guess they get identified to being an adult, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's for children. I'm not watching that."
What'd you say?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said they get identified with being an adult, and they say, "Well, that's for children. I'm not going to watch that."
Yeah, that's
People,
kind of ego trap.
People will say, "Oh, I'm a man, so I won't do that because it'll be
Relating to stuff from men and
it
women.
will be wearing the color pink, for instance." Like,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
like you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, those are concepts that that just die over time because of being challenged so much.
It's like dude, like okay. So another topic or area I wanted to touch upon was that your livelihood really generates inspiration, and engaging in your interests does as well. And when I was in university and I was in art classes and I was in clubs and doing everything, there was like this flow to it that it was a cycle, and it felt like I had infinite like creative potential, because I would go to class and I would learn about art. I would exercise and learn, and I've pushed my skills past what I have ever, and that was really like encouraging. Like the challenge was invigorating, and the growth was rewarding enough that it wasn't grueling. And I mean, I just love art, so it wouldn't matter.
Well, yeah.
And
Yeah, because of the love.
yeah, love makes us do a lot of stupid things, right? And I could be sticking with something that really pisses you off for a long time.
Yeah, but you learn from that, so it's all good.
That's for sure. And so then I would go and do things at social events and being recreational, academic, and professional, and whatnot. And I would get all these like slew of information and like being able to like dwell in a whole different area of life. So like it would almost recharge like that creativity, and then I would go home and I'd be able to do whatever I wanted, like, and I would just draw, and it would be totally different than all the stuff in school, because it's a lot more structured, and it's more so like you got to do this.
Yeah, that's true. That's the problem with school. So I mean, school is cool because it can teach you stuff, but depending on your on what kind of programs you have and your incarnation, like your constitution, a whole bunch of factors, emotional state, and all this sensitivity. Yeah, school. Yeah, it can be for some people for sure, but depending on what topic, especially spirituality, that's not possible to be learned in school, or not in that way. Like really not at all, because spirituality is like taught to us through life being the guru and not school being the guru. And I think that's really like, well, that is valid for a lot of things, unless you actually kind of need some school. Like for example, if you want to do some, I don't know, like architecture, maybe, okay, you can benefit from it, but yeah, learning on your own is really the best. Even though, yeah, like I said, some people need some external stuff, and it's cool, but I guess that's just a period or like a stage. Because really, the real teacher is yourself, and if you find that, and then you're good.
Very well said.
What'd you say?
I said very well said. Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
that's the thing is like in the professional world, you gotta sometimes do things on a deadline or do things for a client or for in
well, it's
school
not
for
bad.
a grade.
It's not bad, but what?
And in school for a grade and
Yeah.
yeah, don't get discouraged if you never got a 100 in an art class. The art teachers aren't giving you that, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I mean, about art is real different because the perception like changes all of it, really. I mean, yeah, ego is here in the middle also.
Yeah,
So many factors.
yeah, no, I mean, so I guess that's okay. Okay, another thing that we got to talk about is like burnout and how discouraging that sometimes like creatives can get in, like these moods and periods where they're inactive or even turn away from their art and
Yeah, but I feel like these periods are more like to recharge your brain from the intense activity of being an artist.
well, I agree.
Because yeah, sometimes you need to chill out really a lot. And yeah, I mean everything happening is really for our own good, no matter how you feel in the moment, and even though it might feel like it's threatening your well-being, but really it's the opposite. Yeah, that's again another ego to catch here that can be troublesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, how have you experienced the burnouts?
Well, I have gone through periods, and like sometimes when you're really depressed because you're not creating or things aren't turning out the way you've been wanting them to, or they're not really
Ah, again,
being
ego.
your vision. Yeah, I mean that, but also just like you got to deal with that sometimes.
Yeah, but I feel if you approach these things the correct way or the proper way, they can really, well, do one of two things. One, destroy you, or two, make you, depending on how your perception and your relationship with these things is. Like, they can just really be a really great source of inspiration or a source of, well, despair, yeah. Which can go together also, which is why some artists make such dark things because yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I try to do, but sometimes I can't make that work.
Well, yeah, sometimes it doesn't work, yeah, because
It's just some.
yeah, there's always a message we gotta learn on the moment.
And I don't know how to say if there's a proper way. You just, deal with it.
Well, yeah, there's no.
The
I
best
think the
way.
proper way is how you feel like the proper way is. Like no one can tell you.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the best way. But first and foremost, you gotta sit there and say, okay, I'm gonna just look at this, and
Like sitting with the emotions.
yeah, or just like looking, yeah, sitting with them or looking at them, but just not like pushing them away or like.
But yeah, that doesn't work.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Yeah. It's
I
like
mean,
poking.
yeah, again, it's
It's like
stage.
poking like a fucking bear with a fucking stick. And, the more you do that, oh boy, dude,
He's gonna get mad.
he's gonna get mad. And you go,
That's a good analogy.
and sometimes you gotta let the bear be. And that's the thing, is like, you gotta sometimes be really patient with yourself and forgiving, because, like, you know, especially in America, the culture is, oh, you gotta really produce something to, like,
Oh yeah, because of individualism.
yeah, and capitalism. You really gotta like.
Yeah, that's an issue I've been kind of been around with, is that productivity idea that my ego has, and that just doesn't apply to art at all, because you can just be super productive and not doing much, and be super productive like for say 3 hours you're trying to like edit some effects on a song or trying to add some finishing touches, and you don't like it, and the 3 hours that would have been productive to this capitalistic worlds aren't that productive to your artwork in the end. So that's why it's really paradoxical again.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like navigating that can be really difficult, because art is not just about, doing the thing. It's all the things that allow you to do the thing. It's the environment in which you do the thing.
Well, yeah, many factors again.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we're gonna have an episode. It's gonna be intersectional analysis on creativity, and yeah, we're gonna talk deeper about that. But yeah, like, I mean, art hasn't been paying the rent, and so a lot of people keep it as a hobby. And I mean, that's the thing, is like, when I'm on the internet, I'm looking into these, like, see if, like, what I can do to further outreach, or, what kind of opportunities there are. And you have to really, like, you kind of gotta be doing that all day, every day. For years.
The entire day.
Yeah, for years, and it may not pay off for, like.
Well, yeah, that's all dependent on God, though.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is you gotta really do it because you love it, and you don't just do it because. And that's where inspiration and interest come in. That's the whole point of this whole episode, is that your interest guide you to your inspirations. And what inspires you, allow you to go back to your interests.
And the inspirations, depending on how pure they are, for example, like we said, if you do this for the money, or if you do this for just because you love doing it, and that's kind of sad about it, is because a lot of people don't really follow it nearly as much as they would have liked to, and just keep it as a hobby, even though they're like kind of burning on the inside to really just make that art being expressed. And well, yeah, that's sad on some level, but yeah, there are still lessons in that, and it's all good. So yeah, it's always like that. In the moment, it feels wacky and just a little bit just uncomfortable. You can feel like, but yeah, that's how you learn. Like, suffering is really the key to growth. So we're gonna end the episode here. Any last thoughts?
What? I'm glad that your answer to all of that was just, I'll go and suffer and you'll figure it out.
No, I just want to, like I said, just sprinkle in some knowledge here and there about what I've experienced.
Well, the suffering will fuel your passion, that's for sure, because you'll look back and you'll say, wow, all of that to be here. And don't forget that. And don't forget the people that love you, and don't forget the things that you love are great, and that life is wonderful. And you know, really, what's inspiring is you meeting something that is really yourself, and that's why it's so deep, bro. So, peace out, Girl Scouts, and
Yeah. Peace out.
keep it real.
Yeah. Stay juicy.
Stay juicy, bro. And smoothies.
And yeah, the smoothies.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we will make an episode about smoothies really soon.
Yeah.
At some point.
Of course. Can't forget the
Yeah,
smoothies.
the special smoothies
The
episode.
smoothie
Yeah.
specials.